Hello, and welcome back to the Doctor Who Marathon. I'm your host, McEdam, and today we're going to be talking about one of the greatest, most epic, most grandest Doctor Who stories ever to be conceived. Yes, we are going to be talking about the Daleks Master Plan, episodes 1 to 6, as we're breaking this down into 3 parts, with this one being part 1. Part 2 will then be the Festival of Stephen, and then part 3 will be the rest of the episodes, which I'm calling the Daleks Master Plan Part 2. So let us delve into the Daleks Master Plan. But first off, I want to show you this, my DVD cover of it, which I really want to talk about because with the previous covers that I've shown you, they are ones I've kind of borrowed off the internet from people from DeviantArt or Cyberdevil, and you should highly recommend them if you decide to print out your own DVD covers. But with the Daleks Master Plan, I did want to kind of like split them and stuff. So what I've done is I've made my own covers with my own, and I actually designed that, and I put the colours in it and stuff, and that's really cool. And I've put on the side as well. I don't know if you can read it. It says Dalek Master Plan Part 1. So there you go. So that's my DVD cover. Episodes 1 to 5 of this is written by Terry Nation, of course. However, episode 6, unusually, is written by Dennis Spooner. So that's it's the first time that somebody's written for the Daleks other than Terry Nation. And yeah, let's just delve right into it. So, like I said, this is 6 parts, so I'm not going to be delving too much into the story in depth. But, man, the first 6 episodes of this are bloody incredible. There's tension all the way through it. And the story never lets you take a breather in terms of the danger. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The TARDIS crew, which consists of the Doctor, Stephen, and new companion Katrina, they land on the planet Kemble from Mission to the Unknown. But them appearing actually takes place like halfway or maybe more to the end of part 1, as most of the story revolves around this captain guy. I can't remember for the life of me what his name was. See if it's on here. No, I'm afraid not. But he is played by Nicholas Courtney. Now, for those of you who don't know, Nicholas Courtney is a big Doctor Who actor, mainly known for playing the Brigadier in the 70s and in the late 60s. But this is his first Doctor Who role, and it's very strange to see him in a role not the Brigadier. However, he bloody owns it. He kind of slowly finds out that there's Daleks on his planet, and he finds the Doctor later on in the episode, and he holds him prisoner. And then we get scenes with Stephen and Katrina in the TARDIS. Now, what do I think about Katrina? I think she's likeable. I think she's a very completely different character from the Susan and Vicky. She's very quiet. She's very shy. She doesn't bring out her voice. She always like kind of gently says her lines, and she always does what she's told with the Doctor. So she's got that sweet innocence about her. However, this story basically has her blending in with the background. She does nothing, which is a crying shame because I really liked her character. But in terms of the plotting and story, she does nothing, rather than just help the Doctor out in a few scenes, which I think he could have done himself. So they were really struggling with her character. There's actually a really good bit where the Doctor tells her about that he's got a key for the TARDIS, and she's from Troy, so she doesn't actually know what a key is. So, and you can see why the writers might have had trouble with her, because they have to explain everything to her. Now, behind the scenes, I don't know, I've heard mixed things. I've heard that John Wiles, the producer, he basically realised after the Mythmakers that he that this character was going to be a very difficult one to write, so they decided to get rid of her as soon as possible. But I've also heard that she wasn't intended to be a companion, a long-term companion. She was meant to die straight into the story. Oh, by the way, spoilers, she dies. Hooray! But let me delve right in. So the Doctor discovers that the Daleks are on Kemble, and the human guardian of the solar system, Marvin Chan, was a great villain. He is secretly working with the Daleks to destroy the solar system so he can have more power. And there's the Daleks in this story are greatly written. They have the group that we've seen in Mission Into the Unknown. However, I don't recognise any of the aliens in this story, which is very confusing. I don't know if what happened to the old council, whether they are supposed to be the same and something went wrong with the costume department, or these are supposed to be different characters. But yeah, just a small thing to note. And the Daleks and these councilmen and their debates it takes the story really seriously, and they make the Daleks a lot of threat as these politicians basically are plotting their conquer of the universe, and they're each trying to like outstage each other, and they all think that they could outsmart the Daleks, which is very good, especially Marvin Chan, who thinks he's basically, even though he's working for the Daleks, he thinks he's better than them. And it plays very well into each of their characters, and it's, frankly, they're some of the best scenes. And there's a small thing to note, okay? So Marvin Chan meets up with one of the councilmen. Now his name is Zarfon. Now Zarfon is his name, is his species, is his planet, and his galaxy, which I believe they say is the 5th galaxy, is called the Zarfon Galaxy. Then, in one of the Big Finish audio dramas, which I haven't got, the Doctor actually has a battle with his son called Zarfon. So it's just a small thing to know. It doesn't mean anything, but I just found it really funny. And the Doctor and Stephen and this guy, played by Nicholas Courtney, they kidnap the Zarfon, and the Doctor dresses up like him to find out what is going on. And there's a great scene where the Doctor goes in disguise as Zarfon in the council room. And each moment you can see the Doctor's kind of like hiding. Like he doesn't say anything, he keeps his arms to himself like that, because Zarfon's hands are like these leaves, because he's like an alien. And it's intense, because you're always thinking, right, at any moment they're going to realise that this is not him and they're going to kill him. But obviously it doesn't plan out, but it really works. And so the Doctor learns about their plan, is that they plan into making a device called the Time Destructor. And they need a material that's only from Venus, which Marvin Chan has, and he puts it on the table to show the rest of them. But as this is going on, the alarms go off and the Doctor sneaks it and takes it away. So it's very like espionage. It's very James Bondy, but in a very good way. Almost sort of Star Wars as well, as there's loads of like councilmen and it's very spacey. In fact, apart from Katrina, all of our characters are from like the future. There's no modern day characters anymore. So and there's a lot of, it's just the story is very well paced. And so the Doctor takes Marvin Chan's ship, because the forest is on fire and the TARDIS is in the forest. And so they escape and the Daleks are after them. So very, very greatly intense. And so the Doctor's team land on a different planet, a prison planet, and they're only in there for a bit. As the ship leaves, though, one of the prisoners of that planet gets onto the ship and captures Katrina. And there's this whole debate on, because the guy doesn't know about the Daleks, so he demands that they don't go to Earth, but rather they go to the planet Kemble so he can be free from the Earth people. And whilst this is happening, Katrina accidentally pulls a lever of the airlock, because he's in this room, and opens the airlock, killing him and Katrina, and that's how Katrina dies. And yeah, the first companion death, which is kind of strange because that happens in episode 4, her death. It's actually very cool because in episode 3 is the cliffhanger where that guy captures her and she's struggling, and in episode 4 then she pulls the airlock. So it's this is one of the first cliffhangers where it doesn't technically get resolved, which just heightens all of the tension, because now you're oh crap, she died. Does that mean now that in the next cliffhanger or two, our companions could still die? Which puts a lot of tension. But I don't know, something about it feels off. I really think that she should have been killed by a Dalek if they were going to kill her off. Just to add a little bit more gravitas. But yeah, she gets killed off, and there's a great bit where the Doctor's I will always remember her as the daughter of the gods. Yes, the daughter of the gods. And then, yeah, she, despite her having very little to do and her send-off kind of like a blink, she gets a better send-off than Vicky, which I found very, dunno. But yeah, Katrina is one of the most little used companions. I mean, they say because at the start of this, Stephen was unconscious because of his battle from the Mythmakers. So her period on the TARDIS is extremely short, meaning that we don't get a lot of stories even outside of media. And I believe the 7th Doctor meets her at a younger age at one point and meets her ghost. And there's a great audio drama which I haven't listened to, but I've heard lots of great things about it. Which is supposed to be a theoretical 5-year anniversary with the first 2 Doctors, and the story revolves around her. The Daughter of the Gods. I highly recommend it if it's any good. I've heard a lot of good things, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the Daleks' master plan. So Dr. Stephen and this guy, they land on a experimental science planet thing, which they describe, and it's this the laboratory of different science experiments, and there's a lot of Marvin Chan's gang there, and one of them is Sarah Kingdom. And if you remember the actress who plays her, which the name's all off the top of my head at the moment, I do apologise. She plays the queen, the princess in The Crusade. She's in this, and she becomes the newest companion. But at the start, she's a villain, as Marvin Chan convinces the Doctor, Stephen, and this guy that they're traitors. So she goes up and tries to kill them. And man, the first scene is that she gets them prisoner, but that guy kind of frees them and lets the Doctor and Stephen run away, and she just kills Nicholas Courtney's character. Boom. Which is really intense when you know later on about them two. But yeah, it just shows the tenseness of it, as any of the Doctor's friends at this point could easily die. Katrina dies, this guy dies, and there's just so much tension in this. The Doctor and Stephen hide in a strange room. It's a completely empty light room, and there's a little box with mice in it. And then Sarah catches up to them, but then before she can kill them, these scientists in a different room activate this effect, and they kind of teleport, and the effect is really weird. You got that weird like bright effect, and then you got Stephen and Sarah like jumping on trampolines, and then there's this like weird like they go this kind of thing, but it really works. It very adds to like the strange atmosphere on it, and they land on a completely different planet. So just the story is very well paced. You're constantly moving from one location to another. There's characters that are constantly dying and meeting up, and it's episodes 1 to 6 of this are just fantastic, as Sarah then slowly befriends them, as they explain that Marvin Chan is working for the Daleks and she doesn't believe them, but there you go. And then the Daleks arrive on this planet and they actually capture the Doctor, and there's a great cliffhanger to part 6. Into part 6 is the Doctor turned into the Daleks, and it's like, the Daleks have won. Yeah, that's very, very intense. The Doctor then comes up with this plan of he makes like a fake material thing that they need, and then he basically says to the Daleks that if I give it to you, if you kill me now, it'll destroy it. So I tell you what I'll do, I'll take me to the TARDIS, and then I'll give it to you as soon as I get into the TARDIS, which then happens, and then the TARDIS travels off, and our villains think that they've got the material, and that's how part 6 ends, leaving into our next story. And Sarah Kingdom's with them, and she explains that that guy that she killed was her brother, and yeah, so parts 1 to 6. I gotta say, these 6 episodes are very great. Doesn't feel boring at all. I was surprised after watching episode 6 that it was 6 parts. It's like, bloody hell, that kind of flew by. A lot of intense, the pacing just constantly shifting. Our characters get rarely any time to breathe in terms of like trying to sit down and thing, as they're constantly getting chased and stuff. So the pacing is just constantly at it, but the story isn't afraid to get a little character beats in there with the Doctor and Stephen and Katrina and Sarah Kingdom, and it's just very well paced. So there you go, that's the Dalek Master Plan, part 1. So join me next time where we go into episode 7, our first Christmas episode, and has nothing to do with the rest of Dalek's Master Plan, which is why I've split it. Technically it is the Dalek Master Plan, but it's not as well. Very strange. This one is a missing. Oh, I forgot to mention as well. All these episodes are missing. The story's missing. Parts 2 and 4, I believe, are still in the archive, so we can watch those. Part 2 is actually the only surviving episode with Katrina, which is really sad, as the Mythmakers is all gone as well. Yeah, so funny enough, with the Festival of Stephen, we're never going to see it, and I'll explain in that episode. So join me next time where we watch the Festival of Stephen on the Doctor Who Marathon.